Hi everyone, welcome back to more of the stories from Damon Runyon on Broadway, and this one is a nice price. It's part 3. I hope you enjoy the rest of this story. Personally, I consider it very wrong for Sam de Ganoff to be holding out hope to a young doll that he is unable to guarantee. But Sam says he does not really promise anything, and that he always figures if he can bring a little joy into any life, no matter how, he is doing a wonderful deed, and that anyway, we will never see the young doll again, and furthermore, what of it? Well, I cannot think what of it just offhand, and anyway, I'm glad to get rid of the young doll, so we get back to disposing of the ducats we have left. Now, the large boat race between the Harvards and the Yales takes place in the early evening, and when it comes on time for the race, one and all seem to be headed in the direction of the river, including all the young guys with the stir haircuts and many beautiful young dolls wearing blue and red flowers, and old guys in sports pants with flat straw hats, and old dolls who walk as if their feet hurt them, and the chances are they do at that. Well, nothing will do Sam de Ganoff, but we must see the boat race too. So we go down to the railroad station to take the very train for which we are hustling ducats all day. But by the time we get there, the race train is pulling out. So Benny Southstreet says the next best thing for us to do is to go down to the dock and hire a boat to take us out on the river. But when we get to the dock, it seems that all the boats around are hired and are already out in the river. But there is an old pappy guy with chin whiskers sitting in the rickety-looking little motorboat at the dock, and this old guy says he will take us out where we can get a good peek at the race from $1 apiece. Personally, I do not care for the looks of this boat, and neither does Benny Southstreet nor old Liverlips. But Sam de Ganoff is so anxious to see the race that finally we all get into the boat and the old guy heads out into the river, which seems to be filled with all kinds of boats, decorated with flags and one thing on the other, and with the guys and dolls walking back and forth in these boats. Anybody must admit that it is quite a sight, and I'm commencing to be glad that I'm present, especially when Benny Southstreet tells me that these guys and dolls on the boats are very fine people and worth plenty of money. Furthermore, Benny Southstreet points out many big white boats that he says are private yachts, and he tells me that what it costs to keep up these private yachts is a sin and a shame when you start to figure out the number of people in the world who are looking for breakfast money. But then Benny Southstreet is always talking of things of this kind, and sometimes I think, well, maybe he's a dynamister at heart. Anyway, we go putting along the little river under a big bridge and into a sort of lane of boats, and Benny Southstreet says that we are now at the finish line at the large boat race, and that the Harvards and the Yales rode down this line from way up the river, and that it is here that they have their tongues hanging out, and nearly all half dead. Well, it seems that we are in the way because guys start yelling at us from different boats and shaking their fists at us, and it is a good thing for some of them that they are not close enough to get a pop at them. But the old pappy guy keeps the motorboat putt-putting and sliding in and out and among the boats until we are to a spot that it says is about 100 yards above the finish, a great spot to see the best part of the race. We are slipping alongside of a big white yacht that Benny Southstreet says is a private yacht, and it has a little set of stairs running down one side, almost into the water. When all of a sudden Sam de Ganoff notices his feet are wet, and he looks down, and sure enough, that motorboat is half full of water, and furthermore, the boat is commencing to sink. Now, this is quite a predicament. And naturally, Sam de Ganoff lets out a slight beef and wishes to know what kind of accommodation we are paying for anyways. And then the old pappy guy notices the water and the sinking, and he seems somewhat put out by the matter, especially as the water is getting up around his chin whiskers. So he steers the boat up against the stair steps on the yacht, and all of us, including the old pappy guy, climb out onto the stairs just as the motorboat gives a last snort and sinks from sight. The last I see of the motorboat is the kind, hind end sticking up in the air a second before it disappears. And I remember the name that it is painted on the hind end. The name is Baby Mine. Well, Sam the Ganath leads the way up the stairs to the deck of the yacht, and who meets us at the head of the stairs but Mr. Hammond Campbell in person, and who is right behind him but a young doll, and I am talking with in the hotel lobby, and of course Mr. Campbell thinks that we come onto his yacht to pick up a little of the 3.5 to 1, and he is greatly disappointed when he learns that such is by no means our purpose, and that we are merely the victims of disaster. As for the young doll, whose name turns out to be Clarice, she gazes at Sam the Ganath and me with her eyes full of questions, but we do not get a chance to talk to her as things begin occurring at once. Now there are quite a number of guys and dolls on the yacht, and it is a very gay scene to be sure, as they walk around laughing and chatting, when all of a sudden I see Sam the Ganath staring at a guy and doll who are leaning over the rail talking very earnestly and paying no attention to what is going on around and about them. The guy is a tall, dark, complected young guy with a little mustache, and he is wearing white flannels pants and a blue coat with brass buttons and white shoes, and he's very foreign-looking guy, to be sure. The doll is not such a young doll now. She may be around middle age, and given her a few points the best of it. But she is a fine-looking doll at that, especially if you like dolls with gray hair, which personally I'm not so much in favor of. Well, I am close enough to Sam the Ganath to hear him breathing heavily as he stares at this guy and doll. And finally, the dark-complected young guy looks up and sees Sam at the same time instant Sam starts for him. And as Sam starts for the young guy, turns out and makes a run into the other side of the direction from Sam along the deck. But before he takes to running, I can see that it is nobody but Society Max. Yeah, well, there you go. Let's see what happens to Society Max if Sam the Ganath meets up with him or catches up with him. Until tomorrow, stay safe, be good, be kind. See you, bye.